to me as I was watching the later episodes of the season was the change in fighting prowess. In the early episodes, the Rangers tended to fight off putties successfully only after they'd morphed. Otherwise, they relied on tricks or misdirection in order to defeat them. In fact, Tommy's ability to fight off a squad of putties single-handedly was an impressive feat to Rita. However, in a later episode, Zach was able to fight off a squad of putties himself, too. Billy's fighting ability in particular would change. In the beginning, he could barely fight off one putty, let alone a whole group of them, but by the end, he was able to hold his own in a fight beyond the stereotypical nature of his character. Mind you, some of this was simply narrative convenience, but it did hang in my mind as I was watching. Originally, the first season of Power Rangers was only supposed to be 40 episodes, ending on Doomsday. However, with the growing popularity of the series, they decided to keep it on, though Saban found itself needing new Sentai footage since they had run out of the footage produced by the original Zeo Ranger show. To solve the problem, they actually contacted the creators of the show to produce entirely new, original footage that would only be used in Power Rangers. Damn! Damn! It amazes me what kind of budget this show must have had. While dubbing a show is by no means a cheap process, it would have been considerably cheaper than continually producing original footage with all these characters, having the new footage made by the original producers, and as we'll see, all new sets and villains made exclusively for this show. The underlying theme present is one of magic, or at least steampunk fantasy, versus technology. While both sides of the conflict utilize magic or technology, their methodology and surroundings are completely on opposite sides. Rita's palace is full of magic trinkets, and its overall atmosphere is meant to evoke a wizard's lair. Her monster-making machine turns clay figures and pops them out as actual living beings. She has a magic wand to make her monsters grow, and she routinely uses magical items to achieve her goals, either calling upon some ancient spirit or, say, using the candle to take away superpowers. Even the monsters themselves tend to have a more mythological or mystical bent to them, or at the very least range on the fantastic. On the other side of the fence are the Power Rangers. The command center is a high-tech facility, and the morphers themselves are an impressive feat of technology, accessing something called the Morphing grid to give them their powers. While Zordon may have been described as a wizard before they fleshed out his backstory, he clearly prefers the use of technology that the group had at their disposal. Alpha himself is a robot, and the Rangers use giant machines to fight against Rita's magically created monsters. Billy is usually the tech go-to guy and also invents new devices to help the team out. Hell, his little brother even invents a Virtual Boy. Technology is presented as something extraordinarily necessary and useful to the team and the world at large. Mysticism and magic, while useful sometimes, are presented as tools of evil. What's interesting about this is that by the time we reach Zeo, that position will not only have swung more towards the mystical, but an outright reversal, with technological forces being the enemy, but we'll get to that when we get to it. All in all, the success of the show was probably not built on the most engaging of circumstances. While the acting is mixed in the early episodes, the characters do all eventually grow into a position where they're completely believable in their roles, as long as you ignore them preaching about community this and environmentalism that and teamwork and all that crap. Guest characters would be the worst actors, since it comes off as not knowing if they should take their material seriously. Or in some cases, they're just terrible actors. No, what I'd say really guaranteed the success was the action. No other show at the time was showing such complex fighting and choreography, and while the monsters were silly and the jokes were cheesy, there was something of a basic charm to the series that made people, especially kids, want to watch it. The growth of good storylines aided it, especially multi-parters where the stakes were high and you honestly weren't sure how they were going to resolve the situations. And while there were, of course, those times when logic broke through and you asked, "Say, if Rita knows their identities, why doesn't she just blow up their houses?" All in all, the first season was a good start to the show, even if 60 episodes was a bit much, especially when one considers that most of them followed the same damn formula. However, things would only go uphill in terms of storytelling in Season 2.
Hey guys, I mean, you don't even know what you're talking about. We were talking to a giant floating head.